Today we're going to be looking at how to install the Grohe tall mechanical valve, ATS1310. So we start off with our valve, and you can split it apart by twisting it. So take it here and just twist anti-clockwise, lefty loosey, righty tighty, and that slides straight off. There's got a long rod, threaded rod in the middle. It's about like that, and this slots into a couple of slots just on the inside here. You can see that slotted in there. Okay, now we're going to assume that you have taken off your cistern already, which you take off with a couple of bolts which look like that on the bottom of the cistern. You lift the cistern off, you clean it out on the inside, and then before we take out the old valve, before we put this on, we've got a small and a large foam washer in the kit. It's the small one we want first, which goes on here.
On the little ring things.
On our bottom thread. Push that up, like so. And then this basket with the piece in will slot through the hole inside the cistern. Boom, like that. Now, underneath the cistern, we're going to put this piece on with the lip facing up. That's going to slot underneath. Hope you can see that going up underneath the cistern. Then we have the nut, which is going to go on. Get it out of the way. Which will go on, and that will screw on under the cistern there. Put that on and nip it up good and tight, probably just by hand, I would say. And we're left with that inside our cistern.
Yes.
Now we can put the cistern back in place.
Back in place.
We'd use a rubber. Our rubber now goes underneath this, under the cistern. If you want to use a few blobs of grease or something sticky to hold that in place, maybe a bit of silicone underneath the cistern, so that when you lift the cistern back onto the pan, that will stay in place. And then put your bolts through. You can use the new bolts which come in the kit. Then you can screw on with a wing nut underneath. Then put our top part of our valve on, and we twist that to clip it into place. So now your valve will be inside your cistern like this. You see that? Now you need to determine where was your previous water level, and you can usually see that because it'll be a big dark ring where the water was previously. And this tube here needs to be cut down so it's at least 20 millimeters above that water level. We'd recommend at least 25, in fact. You can cut this tube down with maybe a hacksaw or a diamond blade on a grinder and cut that down to the right size. Okay, so inside the tube now, you'll see sticking up is our threaded piece here, and into that we'll slide this piece here, this way up. That goes down all the way into here. Make sure you can see that. So that slots on like that, and then this now will be poking up through the top of your cistern. You put the cistern lid on top of there. That's poking up through the cistern lid. You need to trim this between this threaded rod and the bottom of your cistern. 13 to 30 millimeters. You can cut that down again with a hacksaw probably. This one here, this inner tube, that should be poking up through your cistern, and you cut that exactly flush with the top of your cistern. You can see that slotted in there. Then your button will go down. Take this off so you can see it. That will go over that tube and it screws onto this threaded rod underneath. And if you can screw this down, and if you've cut that rod just to the height of your cistern, then as that tightens up on the top of your cistern, the bottom should just come about flush with the top of that. And then your valve is all ready and installed and ready to go.